Welcome to season 2, episode 21 of La Vida Entre Primas, Life Between Cousins, the podcast where we dive into everything from love, life, and everything in between. Good Lord, it's taking us, we're 30 minutes behind schedule today. We have 2 guests today, and they're already laughing.
Yes, apologies in advance. We're having some major technical difficulties. Go figure. We haven't had any issues this whole time.
None.
We have two special guests.
With the guests.
Visiting our Ninos, actually. I just thought about that.
Oh, yeah.
Our Godfathers. So we have my Nino Cesar here, and
my Nino Jaime here.
And we're super excited. I have a feeling it's going to be a really exciting
Yeah.
A really exciting episode.
Say hello, everybody.
So say hello. We usually start this off with your name, who you are, and where you are in the sibling
Birth order.
Yes.
Cesarito, number 1.
Ah.
The oldest of 8.
El cabezón.
The leader of the pack.
Are you done, Mr. Charming?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
You can't go past 1.
That's right. I'm the second in line, Jaime Javier, and happy to be here.
We're so happy you're here. We actually had my Theo Jaime's daughter on, and Nino's daughter, Kathy, if you remember from the last episode, and Emily. And they were both great and very well received episodes. So, just what we've heard from the other siblings, all the other siblings.
Yeah, they're the last 2 that we have on.
And just wanted to talk a little bit about, I guess we'll start where we started before, is what was it like growing up? So we've talked about this in the past. We've talked about Nana a lot.
Yeah.
But what was it like growing up in Lincoln Heights? And both of you went to Cathedral, so that's a lot of our listeners are very connected to the community. Cathedral, Sacred
Both
Heart.
went to Sacred Heart Elementary.
Oh, and both went to Sacred Heart, where my kids go.
Yeah.
Amazing. So what was it like growing up in Lincoln
Old
Heights?
Sacred Heart.
Old
Was it?
Not
Okay,
the
question.
new Sacred Heart.
Was Sacred Heart 2 stories
Yes.
before?
Brick
That's like the
The
lore.
elementary school was?
Yes, I didn't know.
2
They're
story
like
brick building.
so my daughters are like it burned. Somebody said it burned down, and now it's only 1 story.
No.
No, they just
I
tore
think
it
they
down.
just they tore it down and then
Yeah.
redid it.
New
Because they want to
construction.
be modern.
Okay, it's still pretty.
Hey, we're not in 10 minutes yet.
Oh, the
Pretty
2-story was
modern.
great. It was, yeah.
Huh, I didn't know that.
Amazing. Well, the school's been
Yes.
around for 120 years, or the church 130 years. So
And probably the school also. I don't know.
probably.
I don't know how long they've been around.
So what was it like growing up with all your siblings and Nana in the 19?
Blank.
Jump in
50s.
you.
It would be the 1950s.
Yeah.
I was born in 45.
I would say, what would you say is different in terms of childhood? You're both watching your grandchildren grow up.
Oh my
What's
God.
different? I mean, a lot's different, but like
Discipline?
fundamentally.
I don't know so much discipline. I think the outside influences like social media and the like,
Mm-hmm.
they've grown up a lot quicker. And I think only because they're exposed to so much earlier,
Yes.
which kind of takes the pull away from the parent, the guidance
Agreed.
from the parents, because they get a lot more
And for being a
information.
child.
And from being a child.
Yeah.
They grow up quicker.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yep.
And unfortunately, the roads are, a lot bumpier. Now, they're exposed to more and have access to more, and not just information. Everything from drugs and liquor and bad information,
Yep.
wrong information.
Well, we had the liquor.
Huh?
We had the liquor young.
What is young? How old
Oh
were
my
you when you
God.
had your first drink?
1, 2 years old. El dedito.
Oh, I
Oh,
guess.
my
Yeah.
My grandparents always, every time we had a party, it was un dedito. And whether it was wine or tequila, and they were, my teeth used to hurt a lot. I used to get them rubbed with tequila all the time.
And we had to remind them that they had 10 deditos.
Nana will let us do that
No
in
más
here.
un
Yeah, her beer.
No más un dedito, no.
No.
Before we get away from the schools we're talking about, we actually started at Glen Alta
Yes.
Grammar School.
Or Glen Alta alum here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not
Oh,
alum.
is that-
I didn't graduate from there.
We went there.
We went there.
Yeah, that's where
Yeah.
we started before we moved
Oh.
on to the
So they parents couldn't afford Sacred Heart.
So I told one of my friends the other day that when I went to Ardillo Guadalupe, Sacred Heart Elementary was like the rich school. She was like, it was? I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
Because Our Lady
Yeah.
was like,
Well, it was the only
Yeah.
thing there. Maybe All Souls.
Mm.
Not
All
All
Souls
Souls.
really
Not All
is-
Souls. Not All Souls. All Saints. The one
that one is now closed.
in El Sereno.
Yeah, off of.
Maybe that was kind of.
Yeah, they closed.
Was around when we were growing up, but I can't remember that.
Huh.
So Glen
Yeah.
Alta and then off to Sacred Heart.
Yes.
Yeah.
How was it
the,
at Sacred Heart?
Around the 6th grade,
Yeah,
fifth, 6th grade.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, we can tell you what we did and how we experienced. I don't know that we had the luxury of, we don't know what wasn't normal.
Right.
You know, we just grew up, you know,
Yeah.
a lot of, dinner, dining and boxing. Fight your way in, fight your way out in some situations. But it was always very disciplined because it was a Catholic school.
Mm-hmm.
So there was very much, and the parents kind of followed their rules too, as far as what to do.
It was disciplined except for our class.
Your
You
class?
weren't in the same class though, right?
Yes.
You
ma'am.
were?
Yes.
Oh, how many years were you?
We were so bad.
Wait, you guys were in the same class?
No.
Oh, okay.
My 8th grade and his
Uh-huh.
7th grade, they had to put all the boys together.
Why?
Why? That sounds like a
Because
nightmare.
We were bad.
Because of the 8th grade.
Because we were bad kids.
Why?
What-
Give
like
me an
what?
example.
Give us an example.
I don't know why. We were just rowdy. The group that we were in.
I think rowdy's
I
the
don't
right
know,
word. I don't
man.
think it's bad. I don't think we were bad.
No,
Right.
not bad or anything. We were just undisciplined.
Yeah, we weren't destructive.
Right.
Okay.
We weren't
I
throwing
mean,
chairs at each other or anything.
in those
like
days,
that.
we weren't really destructive and all that stuff. We were just. We got all along, but they needed Sister Luke, which was the Gestapo at Sacred Heart, and because she was
Stern? She's stern?
very
Sister
stern,
Mary Luke, oh, God.
very stern, very stern.
She was-
Yeah, we're the only class I think that ever went 6th and 7th grade
Together.
in the
So the boys and the girls were separated. Oh
totally.
my god, that's
Yeah.
insane.
Even from even the hallway, they were away.
No
We weren't
way.
allowed to go with the girls.
That's crazy. That's
And I don't know, and I don't know if there was
there's
an
more
inc-
behind that.
we never thought about it,
Yeah.
but I don't know if there was an incident, now thinking back, that it made them,
Separate.
I still don't know why they separated the boys and
You
the
guys
girls.
couldn't even like play with each other at recess or lunch? I mean, no, like, hi.
Why would you ask him?
I know, I'm sorry. As it was coming out of my mouth, I already knew.
I think
I didn't say anything.
It was the face.
This is not television.
Yeah, picture this, or try to picture it. Maybe, I'll just say 17, that's an arbitrary number. It was about 17, guys.
It was about 17,
17,
18,
20,
yeah.
yeah. Picture 17 adolescent boys all trying to be the class clown.
Oh, I would hate
So,
that.
okay,
know.
so they're trying to outdo each other, and while you're outdoing each other, the other 16, 17 are laughing their butts off.
Right.
I
It
mean,
was a
we-
great.
It was, I mean,
A
we
good
kind
time,
of
though,
encouraged,
huh?
it was the
I feel bad for your
encouragement.
teachers.
Well, Sister Luke didn't care.
No.
I mean, she was there to be more disciplinarian and everything.
They knew what they were
Yeah.
signing up for, come on.
They were, and besides, we respected them more than I think kids respect teachers nowadays.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
I
You
think
know,
so too.
it's like there was no way we were going to say anything to Sister Luke or any of the
Any
other
teacher.
nuns.
Was
Yeah.
it because of the faith element? Like, were you scared to like just mess with the nun, or was it you were afraid to like go to hell? Well, something that we talked about. Let me go back.
No.
Something that we
No.
talked about was
No.
like the guilt, the
No.
like immense Catholic
We
guilt
proved
that
the
comes
going
with
to
it.
hell theory a long time ago. We ate hot dogs on Friday all the time.
What?
Who did?
I did.
I did.
No.
Hell yeah.
Not me.
And nothing happened to me.
Well, I don't know yet. Well,
you're
no.
still here,
So
so
for
no.
a while,
By
but
the way, that's your
It was, at the time. it
you
was
ate
like,
hot dogs on Fridays?
Hell yeah.
Good Friday
like,
too.
Wait a minute,
Yeah.
hold
Yes.
on.
No.
Like wait, like sneaking.
I was
them, or, like-
expecting a thunderbolt or something.
Right?
Oh.
You
To,
would think
you know.
that.
I mean, we won't really know if anything happens until.
Oh, I know.
You know,
I know there's no
later down the
hell.
line.
I'm living it right now.
you know,
Oh my god.
You know.
There's no hell. We're living it right now.
we've had this
Oh, I
conversation,
see
we
where it's
disagree,
going.
but, okay.
You disagree, really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, you go to hell. I'm not, because
Well, I think
'Cause it
people's
doesn't
life
exist.
Well,
experiences
that's in your own mind.
determine the spectrum of what's awful, like how awful is, right? Depending on like what your life experience has been. For example, I work in foster care. My
Yeah.
kids say like,
Yeah,
"You're
yeah.
the worst mom ever." I'm like, "Can guarantee I'm not the worst mom ever." I can guarantee you that, right? Like, it's all based on your life experience. I don't know if that's what you mean in terms of like we're living in hell, but
Well, it's not really hell, but
it's pretty.
you know,
pretty
the
close. It's pretty close.
ups and
We're in a
downs.
dark
I'm talking
time.
about the ups and downs, and sometimes there's more downs than up, and I'm taking credit for that right now.
That's what you get for eating hot
And
dogs
I'm
on a
not
Friday.
Hot dogs on a
I'm not
Friday.
going to hell.
Dang.
So
yeah.
we've talked about Catholic guilt and like the guilt of
Oh man.
like when we say religious trauma, we're not like super,
No,
you
no.
know, but it's like
No.
it sticks with you. Where
But that's why I ate a hot dog on a Friday because.
Do you
once
still
it-
eat meat on a Friday?
Of course.
wow.
Well, when we were growing, when we were raising kids, no, we had the Friday meals and all
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
stuff. But I mean, if I forget or or I say, you know what, I'll do it on Wednesday. When
I'll
make it up.
I had a can of tuna on Wednesday. That takes care of Friday. I'm gonna leave a hot dog on Friday.
See,
Okay.
my deal was this. I never questioned the morality of it or whether it was a sin or not. The only thing I questioned was who made this up.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you start looking,
Yeah.
and it's a church, and the church itself is a huge bureaucracy that,
Yeah, but that
hey,
was-
what can I get out of this?
But you didn't have
whatever.
these thoughts growing
So
up.
now-
It was at the end
So
when
now,
you were older.
as I started thinking about it, not the whole world did not go meatless because there were countries that needed the meat to survive.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah, the little poor
So,
pagan
but they
babies
say, hey,
in Africa.
United States, boom, you're rich, you can't, and we'll get to the pagan baby. in a
That's
second.
why we're so fat because we have to eat all our food.
And we ate every.
And we ate everything.
And we
so the
continue to
pagan
eat
babies
everything.
didn't have it.
So, fast forward to
That's-
the church made it up, man, time out. I don't eat meat on Friday, primarily in Latin, all that stuff, just because of my relationship to
Even-
God, not the
Totally.
church.
Right.
Even,
Right.
If I can make this, this sacrifice, I'll do it.
even
Small.
during the
And
course
by the
of,
way, what's a big deal?
Yeah.
I don't
Totally.
eat meat on Friday,
even the course of
Yeah.
the year. I
Huh?
mean, just not Lent.
Just a blind.
No, he said just,
Just
a
Lent. Just
Just
Lent.
Lent.
I
Yeah,
thought
yeah.
he said he doesn't eat meat on.
Every Friday.
Well,
Every Friday.
Oh, no.
And to your
Okay.
point of who made this up, we had a golf tournament recently, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna get a taquero," and I'm like, "My mom made
It was during
tamales
Lent.
during
It was
Lent,"
during Lent.
and my mom's like, "No, I'm making green chili and cheese. I'm not making pork." And they're like, "Wait, we got a dispensation though." And I'm gonna tell you, everybody on all the donors at the table are scarfing down their chicken thighs on a Friday. So to your point of like, I mean, it's so easily like discarded when
Well,
it's
even-
convenient.
Yeah.
Even the church in this country that's holy than thou on more than one occasion, unfortunately for them, St. Patrick's Day always falls during Lent. So he said, all right, you Irish guys, you can eat all the meat and drink all the beer you want on St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
know,
You
here's
got
what
to
just
pass.
happens.
Well, I call it bullshit.
Well, our priest actually said, like, you know what? Eat the meat. Don't be a jerk, pretty much. How about you do something that's beneficial during Lent?
sure.
Eat
Yeah.
the meat. Don't be
Yeah.
an asshole. He didn't say that, but like,
Yeah.
that's
I
kind
wish
of
you
the-
would have. Father Tess.
Yeah.
I wish you would have.
That just goes back to my way of thinking. I'm not gonna eat meat, not because, here come the brimstone, fire and brimstone, it's because it's a rule, and if I can honor God by doing that, that's what I'll do.
I think I feel that way
Yeah.
about it too.
No big deal.
I feel that way
Yeah.
about it
Yeah,
too.
we did when the kids were growing up.
Yeah. Did
And
you have
then-
mass on Fridays, or did you have
Huh?
a day of the week that you went to mass?
At
Sacred
school?
Heart. The kids go every Friday to mass.
I
Did
think
you
we
go to
had a
mass
day.
one day a
At
week?
Cathedral, we had every Friday.
Thursday, I think. Was it Friday or Thursday?
I can't remember. I think it was Friday because that's when Kennedy was shot, and we were at mass.
Oh no.
Or daily
Yeah.
mass.
Oh.
And I
How
thought that was
crazy.
Thursday,
Yeah.
and I remember that.
And I remember riding on the bus, and there was nobody on the bus
Yeah,
because we always used to ride the bus.
because they cut us loose early. We went to
That's
lunch and then they
scary.
cut us loose.
What was
Yeah.
that like? I always hear people talking. So just to go back real quick. So Sacred Heart, you both graduated from Little Sacred and went on to Cathedral which is also a very well known.
They were already
School.
used to single sex education because they created
They were
it at Sacred Heart.
And so Theo Hyman's in town for Cathedral, and you went to to the Cathedral. You didn't go to the gala.
He was up north for celebrating his
Oh,
grandson's
No,
birthday.
March.
Happy birthday, David! Right? Was it
Yeah, it's
David?
today, right? Today's
Yesterday.
David's
Oh,
birthday.
happy birthday!
It was yesterday, Tuesday,
Yeah.
Today's Tuesday.
24th.
Yeah,
Today's his birthday.
today's his birthday.
So
The day
you were
we're
in
recording.
town for the gala. What
Yeah.
was it like? What was it like at Cathedral?
It was,
And you were together
It
at
was
high school at the same time.
Huh?
Yeah, he was a year ahead always.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
And then Uncle Renee was a year younger than
2
you?
years.
2
2
years
years.
younger than
2 years.
So you went to
behind
school
me.
then for 1 year? Or not?
No, all 4.
At
You were all-
Cathedral?
Yeah.
4 years.
4 years.
No, yeah, but with Uncle Renee, you're talking with
With
Uncle
Uncle
Renee.
Renee.
All 3 of us were never at Cathedral at the same time.
Oh, okay.
Jaime and myself were there.
Yeah, he was class of 64, I was class of 65.
Okay.
And 65 was when Renee came in as a freshman.
Got it.
Got
So,
it, gotcha.
Renee was 67?
Yeah,
So he was there when you were there?
For 1
Oh.
year?
for 1 year.
For 1 year.
Nice.
Yeah,
Jaime was there for
Yeah.
Yeah.
Renee went for all 4.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, plus, yeah.
Plus.
So you
Well,
were
he
saying
kept it
you
up.
remember when Kennedy was shot? You were at school?
Oh, yeah, we were in,
What was it like?
well, we were in Mass and Brother
Mass.
Gerard, the principal, came
Whatever.
up and said I have a special announcement and this and that, the president's been shot. At that time, he hadn't been declared dead yet, when you had
You're right.
there'd
He had
been
only
an
been
attempted
shot.
assassination.
And then we didn't have radios or anything, so by the time we had to get home before we found out anything else.
Yeah,
Mm.
And I was a senior then.
yeah,
Well, that was 63. I was entering my senior year.
yeah.
So my first thought was, oh my God, they're going to take me in there. It's going to be war. And then it was when the Cuban crisis had gone,
Right.
was going on.
And that was years
Oh, we're
before.
going to have to go to Cuba.
Yeah.
And back to Cuba.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it was just a lot of thoughts, but nothing.
Sure.
Yeah.
Nothing
I don't know,
materialized.
how come I went in the bus? I remember you in the bus going with me.
What's that? Going
After,
home?
yeah, going home.
Oh, yeah, well, we had lunch first, we actually,
Yeah.
and then what was funny, and this is, oh my God, Larry Snyder was was the class president?
Yes.
School president, yeah, because he was having lunch with us, we were sitting there, and somebody, it would not surprise me that you made the crack. He said, yo, Larry, are you worried now? Yeah, because you were the class president. His class, he went,
My
Oh,
gosh.
Nino, what the?
and here
Okay,
again,
I'll take credit.
and here again, I'm not saying it was him, it just seems like something he'd say.
was-
100%.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Huh?
I
That's
could
so
see that.
something he
I
would
I don't
say.
remember. I don't remember lunch either. I remember just getting
Yeah.
out of mass and then getting, you know,
And leaving from there.
certain things just stick with you.
Yeah.
And going in the bus and down there
Yeah.
where the Bank of America used to be,
Yeah.
looking out and going, "Where's all the people?"
Where's everybody? Yeah.
There
it
was
it's
nobody
all-
on the bus, nobody walking.
Scary.
Everybody was listening to radio or whatever.
Yeah.
Watching TV.
You
The
know?
reason I ask is because there's a lot of we're just talking about historical movies.
Yeah.
How that's a scene in a lot of movies. Is like, where were you when President
Yeah,
Kennedy
that's one
was
of those.
shot?
Yeah.
So scary.
Yeah, landing of the moon and all that stuff. You can remember all that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
I think to your point of being inundated with social media now, that seems like it would be like diminished greatly. Not that it's not like a tragedy or important. Like it's the same importance and the same gravity, but like we're just so.
Well, can you
We're
imagine now?
desensitized.
Yes.
Can you imagine something happening now and you don't have a phone to look it up? You know, what happened?
What? Somebody tell me what's happening.
Somebody, I don't have my phone.
Here's the problem, and as it relates to social media and how fast things have to happen nowadays. When we heard Walter Cronkite come on the air and say it's official, President Kennedy is dead. Okay, that was hours after the event.
Oh yeah, I mean,
With social media today, you'll know he was shot 3 seconds ago.
Totally.
Right.
And by the way, you're gonna get a million stories that are all wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
yeah.
Time had not developed, history had not, got everything in the right place.
Everything gets
and I've
distorted.
lived
Yes.
it in my where I used to work and the rest of it before. Everybody would say, it's so hard to get information. That's bullshit. It's easy to get information. It's hard to get validated
From the right
Correction.
sources.
Yes.
I feel like we experience that now, right now, in particular with
Oh, yeah.
a lot of conflicts, but one that's been going on for, many moons is the one with, the conflict between Israel and Palestine.
Oh,
And I have friends on both sides,
of course.
and I'm like, oh my God, there's just like about where do we get the correct information? Like
Yeah.
what is
Yeah.
right? And people who are so impassioned when they're talking about something that relates to their lives and their livelihood and their family and their home country and something that's so tragic, they're speaking to you with like genuine.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I would totally I'm eating up every word, but
Yeah.
how do I know what's right? It's
You
so
just have to
difficult
wait. You just have to wait it out.
Yeah.
Totally.
Time like heals all wounds and everything, but the same thing, the truth always comes out.
Think
But
about it.
unfortunately, there's so many lies nowadays
And nobody
Right.
that it
waits.
takes you 1 or 2 days.
Yeah.
Just what we're living through right now, the immigration, issue. And I was back in Washington when the thing started last Thursday, 2 weeks ago, whenever it was now. And the first report to that lost something to the point of there's riots in Los Angeles and they're burning, and stuff and everything. And I said, well, I knew where it had happened, Paramount. or something. I said, well, I knew that's 20 miles south of Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I said, why are they saying Los Angeles? And then they showed
Just like the angels.
cars, there's cars burning. And I looked at the film and I said, well, that's the same freaking car. They're showing it from 4 different angles.
Yeah.
And here again, I always taper in my own mind, I said, it's bullshit until it's not. So
That's
I'm listening
it,
to
yeah.
this. But the people that don't know that, they think Los Angeles is on fire.
Yeah.
And this is all happening in like 20, 30 square miles
Yeah.
Yeah.
or blocks. Where in
Every
fact,
time
it's
you
half a
watch
block.
TV
Yes,
or listen to the
yes.
radio, well, not listen to the radio, but watch TV, and you're looking at the news, and you've got to really stop and think, that happened 3 days ago.
Yeah.
It's not doing right now.
Yeah.
It's not current news.
Yeah, true.
Unless they
Yeah.
have to put, earlier
File,
today
yeah.
or
File,
they put
film.
the date. But
Yeah.
somebody coming in, whether they were asleep or had, like Michael John, he doesn't pay attention to the news. So when he looked at, oh my God, what's going on? I said, well, listen to the news.
Right.
But he doesn't pay attention. So he said, oh, that happened this week? And, but again, that's another subject that,
Yeah.
there are people that aren't involved in the politics or daily life of the news.
Yeah.
And then when you see it, you think it's happening right now, and you go, "Oh my God! No wonder the National Guard is there." No, they should.
Oh my God.
It's already-
And I think as we lived through not the Watts riots, but the Rodney King stuff, I'm like, this is nothing. The city was burning when I was a kid during the Rodney King riots, and I'm sure I didn't recall the Watts riots. I don't think I was alive, but I'm like, this is crazy. They're portraying it to the same magnitude.
Yeah.
Now when you get the news, you have to slow down. It's like when we're in Nogales, and they shot Trump.
Yeah.
Okay, and I got a text, and it said Trump shot. I didn't say anything.
Yeah.
I waited.
We were at the table.
I waited. I waited. And some of your siblings might have jumped up. Trump got shot. Well,
Yeah.
you don't do that because you don't
Yeah.
know if it's actually fact.
Sure.
You know,
Right.
like I got a text the other day. It's like FIFA cancels the soccer cup, the World Cup. They're not going to have it anymore. And I sat on it it was a lie.
Yeah.
You can't react to news nowadays
Yeah.
like that. You just have to wait till it comes out.
Yeah.
And then you can be more informative.
You comfortable in that chair?
I have a question, something we asked the other siblings as well, and if you don't want to talk about it, you don't have to, but what was your experience? We talked about when your dad passed away, and they described it from their perspective, and something that really blew our minds was that my mom or your mom, one of them was saying I think Tio Jaime knew, and maybe Nino knew, but that Nana
home.
didn't know. No, then it was
Then it was
Tio Jaime. She's like, I feel like they told him.
that Tio Chato had
nobody
told
else.
you.
It was just mind blowing to us for Nana to go and not know. They're like, we think she knew because she only packed back black clothes or whatever. But it was just a crazy story of now because we are so connected that she would have to go 9 hours and not know what's at the end of the.
I was in the car. He can address that.
There was an attempt by mi Tio Chato and probably Hancho by mi Tia Amelia to keep the news from my mother. Now, you have to tell her something about why are we rushing you to Nogales?
Yeah.
And by the way, pack everybody.
Except me.
Essentially the guys was, he's I think it was he's had an asthma attack or he's had a heart attack. In any case, he's in the hospital. And I remember I said, well, let's call and find it. Let's get on the road and we'll call when we're on there. So I threw the bullshit flag right away. I said, you know.
So you already knew, like, in your gut.
I suspected, you know.
Well, yeah, you're right, what, 18?
Yeah, and I suspected, and Miguel Chato took me around back. We had driven from the house there in Lincoln Heights to Rosemead where Miguel Chato lived.
Oh, yeah.
And he took me and he said, yeah, your father's dead, but we need to be strong for your mother because it's a long ride and, you know, as long as we can. And
It's really hard.
I started losing it. I started getting with the anxiety level.
Yeah.
I was rushing
That's a lot of
around and
pressure
moving
for a
things
kid.
and everything. So he spotted it, and he said, "I gotta calm this bull down." I think, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So he told me the truth, and he just kind of sucked it up, and we got in, and off we went. You know, it was a long ride.
I was in the
Where were
Air
you?
Force.
I see, where were you?
I was in the Air Force.
Yeah,
Oh, shit.
yeah. He was
Tell us
And there was
Sacramento.
no, you know what? I don't know how it happened. I got a call. I don't know how they did it at the time. Anyway, I got a call from the personnel, the others. They've been trying to get a hold of you from home, he says. He says, you got to call home. And we didn't have cell phones or anything,
Yeah.
so we just had a pay phone.
Nice.
So I think the guy that directed me to a phone, and Yolanda Georgelis called me
Oh,
and told me. She just,
Where were you?
Marysville, Beale Air Force Base,
Sacramento.
Sacramento.
Oh, okay.
Sacramento.
Yeah.
And you had to come home immediately?
Yeah, well, yeah. So then, Air Force is really good with that stuff.
Yeah.
They made all the arrangements and got me on the plane and flew to Tucson. I didn't get there.
Miguel Jorge and I
Yeah.
had to get since at the
Yeah.
airport.
It's like midnight. I got in there 10. It was night.
It was night. Yeah.
Yeah, it took me all day.
And Miguel Jorge
I had to go to Sacramento. I had to
a
get.
bottle of whiskey. And
I had
I'm
to-
sure.
I can't remember now. Yeah, it was Sacramento. Somebody drove me to Sacramento. I can't remember. You know, like when there's a funeral, it's always a blur.
Yeah.
Sure.
Except the first, when you
And it
first
was in
find
Mexico,
out.
right? So it was like
Yeah.
really fast. He passed away in Mexico, which it was really fast.
In
right?
Nogales, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
it was
yeah.
a fast.
Yeah, we were there that night, and I think the next morning, I can't remember that.
Yeah, I don't.
I think they were-
The next day they had a viewing
Yes.
because there were these cars and people up and down Dinamar.
Yeah, all day, and then the following
My
day,
grandfather's grandparents' place.
mi Tato Juanio's house.
Was staying, yeah. Of course, he had already passed away, her grandparents, but mi tia Aurora still lived
Yeah,
in
Right.
the house,
Yeah.
and that's where the casket was.
Yeah, I think it went one day,
Yeah,
and then
it wasn't long.
Wait, the casket was in the house?
yes,
That's what they told us. They said they walked
They
in and
always-
only Pete,
Oh,
only
yeah,
Pete
yeah.
could stay.
and
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
the
yeah.
first time, and I've never seen it again. Even Mexican, because there was a Mexican mortuary in Noriega, but it's the only one I've ever seen. They had the coffin, but they had a piece of glass over it, so you couldn't touch it. My dad, you couldn't touch it.
Oh.
It's the only time I've ever seen it, and I only remember the glass because it was something I've never seen before. And then the damn twins wanted to laugh and go, "Hey, we're gonna go." They were just. Do you remember that?
Because they were only
There
3,
was
right?
one time, huh?
Didn't understand.
They were only
They were 3, right?
3 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they thought it was a party. They were kids.
Yeah.
They were kids.
They still think it's a party.
Yeah, and they were, and they were laughing, and which was, it was fine. They were
Yeah.
kids.
They were
I'm not
like
criticizing.
3-year-olds.
I
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just those thoughts that I remember.
Yeah.
I remember there sitting there, took out a cigarette, and smoked it. We never smoked in front of our parents before, so I was smoking there, and I turned around, and my mother's in the kitchen going,
Giving you the evil eye.
"Oh, the snake
Not my
eye."
mother.
Ooh.
Let me reach
Just
in there and
kidding.
smack you.
So something that all the sisters kind of applauded Nana for was not going back to Nogales. So
Oh,
giving
yeah.
you all the
I
opportunities
thought
here,
we were
that-
going.
Yeah.
not going back. And I think about that as a mom of 3. I have all the resources at my fingertips. My husband
Yeah.
is here. We have good jobs. We speak the language. We're American. But like imagine like not speaking the language, having 8 kids,
Oh, yeah.
and then all of a sudden you don't know how to do anything and you're on your own. That's crazy.
All her
To
siblings
stay.
wanted her to go back.
That's what they said.
Tio Renato said they're selling this lot next door. I wish we would have bought the lot, but
Right.
it was like for $10,000, and his life insurance policy was like $14,000, if I remember right.
Yeah.
He said, you can buy a plot of land, we'll get the house built and all that stuff. And she said, nope,
That's wild.
we're staying right
That's
here.
really brave.
What, outside of, all the grief that was going on, I remember there was a lot of moving parts, and there were like grown-up decisions to be made. And there were people making decisions for the family until, I give Cesar credit, and I
Yeah.
was with him and everything, but the final call was number one here.
Were you still at home?
Huh?
You still at home?
Oh, yeah, well, with me?
Yeah.
Yeah. You mean, I'm talking about the time right
After he died?
in Nogales.
Oh, in Nogales.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, there was a particular person, hey, we'll go in the house and we'll pack up all his stuff and we'll clean up that, and Cesar said, absolutely not, stay away from my house.
Oh.
Stay away from the house.
Nana's house here.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we
They
just,
wanna come clean everything.
essentially
We have to
told
clean
everybody,
everything out
said,
and
we're
clean it
gonna
out.
take care of
We'll
the stuff.
take care of it.
We'll take care of the family there, everybody back up. I remember me personally thinking, because I was at East Los Angeles College at the time, and selling shoes and some other jobs I had. When all this happened, and I was thinking, I said, well, I got to leave college and get a job, to help support and everything. And I remember having this conversation with Tio Mundo, my father's brother, and he kind of looked at me and put a smirk on his face, and he said, he's smirking, looking, he says, don't quit college, you continue doing what you're doing. If it ever comes to that where you really need to, you make the decision then, don't make that type of a decision right now.
Smart advice.
Oh, very much, yeah.
Yeah. There was other sides to that coin too, with other uncles and.
So what
Yeah.
did you do, Nino, when you came back?
What I do?
What did you do? Like, what was your next?
Oh, when I
Because
joined
you were
the.
going to go to the Air Force, right? And then,
Well, no, I worked at the railroad
okay.
where my dad worked. Well, my dad worked for the Pacific Fruit Express, and I worked for Union Pacific.
Mm.
So at that time, they still had it where I came back and I had a job.
Mm.
Then I tried college, working nights and going the day, and forget it. Until I met a guy at the bar, and he said, "Hey, man." He was an owner of an electrical company. He said, "You want to be an electrician?" We got along. And I said, "Sure." How much they make? That was my
Sure.
And it was a lot more than I was making after, you get an education and all that stuff. The union would do the whole thing. So he wrote me a letter of recommendation. Never saw him after
It's
that.
amazing.
Really?
Yeah, not even, he was a contractor. And
Yep.
I don't know what
Amazing.
happened, but I can't remember. Yeah, he wrote me a letter of recommendation. And at the time, in the IBW, the electrical trade, very few minorities. No women for sure. No women. Blacks, I met one guy in 2, 3, or 4 years. One or two guys that were already electricians.
Yeah.
And they, in my class, there was a lot more Hispanics, Mexicans, and blacks. But we were one of the first classes they really put out. And then after that, then the women started coming in, the girls.
Ruined it all.
Not really.
Just
They
kidding.
just
Oh
can't.
my God,
I'm just kidding. I'm
Stephanie.
obviously kidding.
I
I'm
could
kidding.
I could
I was
say
waiting
yes.
for him to crack a joke.
I
could
know,
say-
but you
I
know where
could-
he takes things.
No, I could say yes, in that they're cut out to do certain things, but when you have a 4-inch galvanized piece of pipe to put in the air, and you have to lift it, they didn't have the strength.
Mm.
Maybe now they do, because we have lesbians now.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
I didn't know that was coming.
Don't cut that one out.
Tim, do your job,
I
Tim.
don't know.
good.
I've been so controlled. I don't know why.
It's too
It
good.
just
No,
comes
it's
out.
too
Dude,
good.
they
It's so
high fived
natural.
about that right now. Did you see that? They high fived about that.
My
No,
brain-
it was too
My
good.
brain is just, I can,
okay.
I know I get it.
We know.
No,
We
they're,
know.
they're very capable. It's the,
Yeah.
No, I
now
get
the,
it. We
the,
know.
the union.
But you see,
get it, we
this
get
is the way I
They're-
would have presented that story. Time has changed to the point where a woman wants to get to a particular level, they have to work to that level, so they have to develop their strength. And I said, but no, let's go to the lesbians.
Lesbian.
What they do sexually is none of my business. Or with who?
Oh my god.
Okay. So
Wow.
that was,
Isn't that how you develop strength? By being a
oh,
lesbian?
please don't.
Listen,
Oh my god.
Oh, please.
I don't
listen.
know. Listen, if you're a
This-
listener and you're a lesbian, are you stronger once you?
Yes, I have nothing against lesbians. I love them.
And they love you too, brother.
Good
Listen.
lord.
I feel like this has gone so fast.
I know.
We have,
like
like-
35 minutes. We got like 10 minutes.
I know, and we haven't even like scratched the surface of anything.
What
We'll
else
have to
is
do
there?
it again.
We have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a lot of stories.
So I know. Okay, give us a good story. Give us a really good
Oh my
story.
God.
Yeah.
Oh,
Give us a good one. Each of you, give us one good story.
Oh,
I
geez.
can't for the
You-
life of
you-
me
Yeah,
start.
I know. It all comes with the situation.
I'm trying to think. Let me try
Oh,
to
it
give
all
you
comes with
examples of what
situations.
they've given us in the past. The
Um,
sisters.
Oh, my mom. Didn't they have the one about the neighbor where she gave the different name because she like it was like a cholo or something and he scared her? Remember?
I don't know. I have a
No,
good
I-
question. Were you here? Were you around when the Night Stalker was
Oh, yeah.
abound?
Richard Ramirez.
You were not, but what do
No,
you remember of that
no.
time?
Richard Ramirez.
Did you put bars on the windows when he was? Lisa
Oh,
says
yeah.
you remember Richard putting bars on the windows.
Bars on the window.
At
When
Grandma's
when
house.
Richard Ramirez was like sneaking in the
Grandma's
homes.
house?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Where else did
No.
Lisa live?
We didn't put bars in the window. We
Puerto
went-
Rico.
We went
In Puerto
to the
Rico.
bar.
Did you put bars in Puerto Rico?
We went to bars.
Oh, Puerto Rico.
Maybe
Yeah,
those
you
are the
did
bars
put-
she remembers because I've seen photos
No.
from Puerto Rico and there were bars on windows.
I don't know. She
No.
thought that she would put like a new screen door up or bars or something.
Maybe that's
I
when
think
she got
maybe
put in
that's-
jail.
I think maybe that's when
Maybe.
we started locking our door.
Okay.
Because before we went in and out, we didn't know what a lock was.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We didn't know. No. Even when we went to El Toloma, we moved out there. You know, we had a cop next door. Why are we going to lock the door?
Yeah.
We used to go to grandma's and leave the door unlocked in
And-
case Donna wanted to go next door.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
by the way, there were instances. I remember as a very young man. It says that you were probably there too. I mean, I'm talking about 10, 11 years old, and we're sitting in the living room watching TV, and the door opens, and we turn around, and this man walks in.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
That was one of the first times our parents were going to leave us alone.
Stop it.
They were it was
Wait, you were
one of
home by
the-
yourself?
Going to leave us home alone.
Yeah.
And that's the first time, and we were so looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And
Who was
Tio,
this
she was there. They were going to go out to dinner with Tio Chato and or something, and they're only going to be gone for an hour to go out to dinner.
Uh-huh.
And all of a sudden, we're sitting there, and they're still in the back getting ready to go, and a random guy just walked in the door.
Was he drunk? Was he lost?
Nope.
What was this?
You know.
And what
I-
happened?
you know,
Honestly, I don't remember. We were shocked. It's like,
Yeah. He was off. He wasn't somebody who was coming to grab something and run.
I
Or,
think he was lost.
How scary.
I think he was lost. Needless to say, we did not have our night.
You did
our
not
night.
have your day without
No.
your parents, your
No.
night without your parents.
yeah.
Yes.
Because grandma was like, I'm
So-
not leaving them.
So now, having said that, we still left the doors unopened,
That's crazy.
Yeah.
unlocked. Excuse me.
Unlocked, yeah.
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 We didn't have a lockdown.
How was Loopy when you were younger? I gotta know. Baragan.
Loopy.
Yeah.
She was
Lupe
a
Baragan.
she was a nosy young lady, old lady.
Loopy next door.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
She used to make the best tortillas.
Dude, her tortillas were
I
pretty
never
bomb.
had one.
Which she
I have
did
yes,
not-
you have.
No, I
Okay,
think
well,
so.
well, there's
Oh, her
a-
cookies with the little
there's a-
jelly in them.
My mother used to make the Sonora style,
Right.
and then you can still buy Lupe's tortillas now with the flour ones,
Uh-huh.
where they're the white ones, but they were big and fluffy. We were
Yeah.
used to thin
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you know to make them last longer. I guess I don't know. But she used to make the fluffy ones. I thought they were the best tortillas.
They were good tortillas.
And now it's like,
Yeah, after I turned 18 and was in the Army, I was in and out of the house, several years, this and that. And she always made me a lemon meringue pie.
lemon meringue
Her
pie.
lemon bars were, I remember her lemon bars.
Excellent.
Yes.
Lemon meringue. She would always make me.
Aw. Right.
And she was always she was there.
Yeah.
I
And she was like a nosy,
Yeah.
Nosy
Medici, went in everybody's business. And my mother, she didn't want any part of that stuff. She cut
They
that
want,
out right now.
Okay, I have one last question.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
so for those of you who don't know, Tio Jaime has a long history in the military. Nino,
Short.
no, short,
Well,
but also different career paths. Also, trades. I feel like more youth now should get into trades.
sure.
I don't think we push them enough. But question: what is all this to say? What is your perspective on how do you think we go forward from what's happening right now in the world? How would you say we move forward? What would you say is the best step forward to calming what's happening in the world? I'm saying you guys. I think you both think differently, similarly.
Yeah, no
What
help.
would you say?
I was thinking about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, what would your advice be to people who are frustrated or upset, or what do you think is the best course of action to move forward? Only because we have people who think different ways, who listen to
I
us.
think just wait till it happens. You don't want it to happen, number one. You don't want it to happen. But for instance, like Susan, you can put it there, she knows. She is terrified that we're going to lose our Social Security. She is every Wednesday, I think, I've stopped doing it, but every Wednesday, the 3rd of the month, did you get the money? Yes. Why did you worry? So until it happens, and we don't want it to happen with the Constitution and wars and all that stuff, but till it happens, we can avoid it if we are educated and start talking to people, and maybe it won't happen. But why worry until it happens? It may not be as catastrophic as
You were expecting.
as you were. If it's going to give you a heart attack and you're not going to enjoy whatever life you have left over, what good is it? It's like, don't eat the tacos. It's going to I'm going to eat the tacos. I'm going to drink the beer. I don't care. I'm not going to try and abuse it. I have been trying not to abuse it.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to take that away from myself. And that, to me, it's...
Good advice.
Yeah, I tend to agree primarily with what you initially said. You have to write it out. From the other perspective, we've lived through a lot of this. If you would remember the Cuban Missile Crisis, the Vietnam War,
Protests.
the drug issues, the protests.
the happy,
I've been here before.
the
Yeah.
drugs, the drugs, legalizing.
I think the biggest thing, the other one was Watergate in that, that political umbrella.
Which we never thought would happen again.
Yeah, but I think the thing that concerns me more than anything else, and I will use Watergate, the reason that was nipped in the bud is because there were Republicans with integrity.
And morals.
That went to the President of the United States and said, we tried, but no, this is not happening. You're going to get impeached and go to jail if you don't resign the presidency. So we lived through that. So what concerns me is I don't see that moral compass. I don't see that political strength. What I do see that concerns me even more, I see some Democrats heading in the same direction.
100%.
And the focus is so much left and right, red and blue. Boys and girls, think about wrong and right.
Yes.
Yeah.
How hard is that?
Not necessarily, you don't have to be a Christian because that's
Oh.
gone wacky too.
Wait,
Yeah.
You can't be a Christian or
Yeah.
these thoughts and prayers all the time
They're going
and
to hell.
oh let's we're gonna pray like my neighbor. Oh, we're gonna pray over it. I go, prayers, it may help. I'm still skeptical about that.
In addition
I
to
believe in prayer, but I believe
Well, you
more in
got
getting
action
your
too.
ass out
Oh,
and
yeah.
carrying that flag and protesting
Yeah.
Yeah.
or calling somebody, calling them out. And this stuff about, like, oh, don't tell them, don't say anything. They're gonna get upset.
Oh,
They
no.
gotta get upset.
Sure.
Screw it.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, unface me on Facebook. I don't give a shit.
Well,
Yeah.
Or don't talk to
Unface
me.
me.
I got
Unface
this.
me on Facebook. I don't give a
Well,
Or don't talk to me.
Well, we were talking about simplicity. It's gonna take those that have veered off, of course, to take a deep breath and say, okay, I was
Yeah.
wrong. I'm not gonna do this
Yes.
anymore.
Yeah.
That is so difficult.
Yeah.
So
Heck
difficult
yeah.
because
Human
you
nature doesn't let
you
you.
freaking dug a hole and you keep digging, but I don't know if you see it in front of you.
And I think part
don't
of
know how
that
you
is
deny
that
it.
those
Yeah.
who I feel like I'm on the right side of history, have to be welcoming and say, it's okay to hop off the train now. Come on.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it's
Yes.
a lot of like, you suck.
It's
I
to their
hate you.
feelings.
So why
Yeah.
would I hop off
That's
the train
another
if
part
I
of
feel like
human
you're going to
nature.
attack me?
You
That's
have
hard
to,
for people to do
that's
that.
hard and it's brave, and then you have to
Yeah.
acknowledge that bravery. Okay, welcome back.
Better late
Welcome
than
Yeah.
never. Yes.
Yeah,
I agree.
Unfortunately,
Both good advice.
the people that have run the Trump campaign and Trump himself and the other Republicans, within his first term, they found a way to get around the checks and balances,
Wow.
obviously. Yeah,
and that's the problem.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the courts. Even the courts are siding with the Trump administration. So that's our only hope right now, the courts. And if they keep on going that way, San Carlos, Mexico, I voy.
Oh my gosh.
Never. I'll
I
never
used to
leave-
say
I'll
that,
never leave
but
this
you know
country.
what, Theo Jaime, you know what I
Yeah.
think about? I used to tell girls, I'm leaving this country, and I was like, fuck that. I'm gonna fucking stay here and fight for my country. I was fucking born in this country.
Well, you can't.
I believe in. I want
I-
to go fight for the country. I just want to
No.
use my bullhorn.
Fight
And, be, and people raising the American flag is like,
Yeah.
I'm American, and we need humanity.
Yeah. I have fought for this country. I'll do it again.
Theo Jaime,
Yeah.
you would
well,
go, wow.
This business about, oh, we got all the guns, we're gonna win. Yeah, you never shot a gun, pal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you both
Done.
give great
Done,
advice.
done.
Mic
Mic
drop.
drop.
I know. Thank
Mic
you
drop.
so much for coming. I know you have another engagement, but we're so grateful that you came. We're so grateful you gave us your time. We have to finish this.
Let me give you something. I'm so happy to do this.
Oh my gosh.
I've kept up. I haven't completed all the
Listen to all that.
podcasts that you've done. And I was always a little remiss and think, you know what, this is never going to happen. So when I got here and I heard that this was afoot, I said, this is great.
It's
I
amazing.
know. When they went up north,
I know, and then you
love
went up
communicating.
north.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's
To
so
the
wonderful.
family, you know,
I
I
know, me
screwed
too.
it all
It's
up.
so
And we'll
great.
have it forever. It's recorded forever, which is wonderful. And this is just the very beginning. We're gonna try to do some stuff over Zoom because this is like literally the first part of like a trilogy. I feel like it's
Yeah.
not even a very beginning because there's lots of things we didn't even talk about.
We may not be
Oh,
here for
yeah.
Act 3.
No. We're gonna-
No. Zoom.
Thank you so much. And like I
Thank
said,
you,
there'll be a
guys.
part 2. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your
Our
advice.
pleasure.
And
We're retired.
Yeah.
I
I
know,
know, they're
right?
retired. We gotta do Zoom.
I know.
We gotta figure that out.
Thank you both. And you got your little.
All right, till next time on La Vida Entre Primas, Life Between Cousins. Stay tuned for, I don't know what we have next. I really lost that whole thing. Okay, bye
Thanks,
everybody.
guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.